Hello, everyone. So, we have our instructor today as Sayan. He's a data science consultant at Walmart. He brings in a lot of experience in this rapidly evolving data science domain. So, I would like Sayan to take over this masterclass now. Over to you, Sayan.
Okay, thank you so much, team, and it's wonderful to have all of you. I'm very sorry to for the delay. We were one was we were waiting for all of you to join in, and two I think the last 5 minutes while I was trying to come in, there was some audio glitch I was having. So thank you all for patiently waiting along, and I'm really excited to be part of this to be part of this session. May I also request the team to just stop sharing so that I can share across? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Great. So all of you can just interact on chat. Everybody, just a quick check because I like the sessions to be very interactive. So uh, uh, so participants, all of you are able to just quickly confirm to me on chat if you're able to hear me loud and clear. Everybody. Just a quick check with all of you if you're able to hear me loud and clear. Okay, chat is disabled. Can we have somebody enable the chat room? Yeah, okay, great. Wonderful. Thank you, Purushottam. Thank you for confirming. Okay, all right. Just a couple of guidelines we can look at for the session generally. Any kind of topic related things you can put in the Q&A section. So if you have some specific questions related to any of the topics that we are discussing, you can put it in the Q&A section. Any transactional questions on what we are discussing, like yes, no kind of things, you can put it on chat. So we'll quickly probably enable the chat here. Okay, just give me a minute while we just set it up. Just a minute, please. So while we do this, friends, I can just quickly just introduce myself once again for all of you. So myself, Mr. Shine here, and I've been in industry for close to 13 years now. I presently do consulting for Walmart, and I'm also affiliated to many educational institutions when it comes to imparting uh, technical education on artificial intelligence and machine learning. So this is something I teach primarily to working professionals and executives as part of postgraduate programs, postgraduate diplomas that we typically do. So AI/ML is what my field of interest actually is. So very passionate about the subject, very passionate about the topic, and with AlmaBetter, I've been engaged for quite a long time. I do take sessions for the university, and this is again for working professionals that typically join our courses, each of whom have an average experience of ranging right from freshers all the way to people above 10 years experience. So it's a very diverse batch that we have, and very actively involved in that as well. I do a lot of offline university sessions for universities like Triple IT. You can see this is a session I was taking in 2019. This is what I put up on my LinkedIn as well. It was a big class. We had 200 students who came together, and continue delivering these lectures in IIT Madras, particularly. IIM Bangalore has invited me. Kalinga Bhubaneswar, I have a tie up with them. SRM University, Chennai, I travel there for offline classes. So these are some of the other things I do apart from the daily work. These are mostly on weekends that I handle. Okay, just to give you a little bit of an introduction to what I do. We are discussing a very interesting topic today, friends. We are going to be discussing about something called, the e-commerce e-commerce industry and applications of machine learning in the e-commerce space. That's what we are looking at today. So how will we pace the session? We'll just start off with a very basic introduction to the e-commerce space. I will not waste too much time on jargons and business terms and all that. We all know what e-commerce is. We all know what Amazon is. So I will not waste 30 minutes to talk about what is Amazon. We will basically try to focus a lot on use cases. So what I really want to make this class is I want to make this class a lot about use cases and technical aspects, how things are really happening. Not what is Amazon and what are they doing, but how are they doing some of those things, right? So we want to do a lot of those kinds of discussions in the class today. And specifically, we will discuss about some of the AI applications in e-commerce industry, but the agenda will be focusing on e-commerce. We will look at applications in e-commerce, and we will also look at some of the specific techniques that are used to solve the problem. Let's say if you are looking at something like a recommender system, then we'll talk about what type of algorithms are used to do a recommender system kind of thing. What is the AI that is behind a product recommendation? What is the AI that is behind the pricing? Next time when you see something is priced at a particular value, so a particular discount is given, how do you arrive at those kinds of things, right? So we'll see that. Okay. Uh, After we are done with that, we'll do an icebreaker quiz. It's a very short 2 minute quiz we will do, and then we will do a program walkthrough. We will give you some introduction to what the AlmaBetter program is, where I also apparently teach. So we'll do a very quick rundown in terms of typical batch and what is very unique about the program, and the team and Harshini will pick it up from there. And as I told you, from an agenda perspective, any specific program questions, career questions, you can specifically direct it to Q&A so that the team can archive it, they can answer it better. And any transactional general queries you have, you can put it in chat. Okay, so it's a good way we can actually interact. Okay, all right, let's move on. How many of you actually come from an e-commerce background? Just a quick show of hands. And I like my sessions to be very interactive. So let me start off with a bit of interactivity here. How many of you come from a how many of you basically come from an e-commerce background already? Some kind of experience in e-commerce you've got. Well, my question is, it's not that you've ordered in Amazon, we've all ordered in Amazon. So that way we all have experience in e-commerce. My question is, you've actually worked on some e-commerce use cases, let's say a sales forecasting or something in e-commerce. May not be an Amazon, but maybe at a smaller scale, you've done something on e-commerce space. Anybody? Do we have anybody in the audience who has done something or who is from a retail e-commerce domain? Maybe you have not done the technical side of things, but you have actually worked on the business side of things. So do we have anybody? So that I can try to involve you guys a little bit more in the class today. So anybody? Okay, I think people are scared to answer because they think if they answer yes, I'll ask them questions. Not at all, not at all. No problem. I think let's start on no problem. So the idea is to just understand what kind of an audience you are. So that's okay. That's okay. We don't have anybody from retail today. I'm also seeing a few private chats as well that are coming. No problem. Nobody's from retail backgrounds. It's a very new topic for most of you. That's fine. So what is the e-commerce industry about? What is the basic idea about the e-commerce space? Let's talk about that. So what is the basic idea about the e-commerce space? So the primary thing about e-commerce is it is a platform. It's a range of services that are used to sell goods and services online. We can talk about something like an Amazon. So Amazon is a platform where you can, you've got sellers who advertise their goods and services, and you've got buyers who buy the stuff. Why do I say services? Because everything is not a product. It's also a service. Let's say a mobile recharge is a service, right? So sometimes you also sell services on Amazon, right? You have tie-ups with other portals. For example, you can go to Amazon Pay and you can basically, you're providing a service to buy a LIC insurance, something like that. It's not a product so the product is from LIC, but Amazon is simply providing a service. So that's the thing. It's kind of a middleman where there are sellers and there are buyers. And it includes retail stores, marketplaces, and online only retailers, right? So all the major businesses that we have today, the revolution started a few years back, but all the major stores we have today, they all have some kind of e-commerce presence. They have some kind of online presence. And I think this particular trend has been extremely exponentially increased ever since COVID. And ever since COVID struck, we have seen a lot of businesses actually moving into e-commerce. They never had any choice. And today, I think the e-commerce industry has been disrupted exponentially, not only with the likes of Amazon and Flipkart in the Indian context, but we are also talking about a lot of hyper local delivery e-commerce players, hyper local delivery like your Swiggy, Instamart. And I say Swiggy, Instamart is e-commerce, the grocery. The terms are kind of overlapping. Grocery is a specific segment in e-commerce, but we also have things like Amazon now, um, which are trying to do instant deliveries. BB now, which are doing instant deliveries kind of thing, right? So the idea is that hyper local delivery, like a Blinkit kind of thing, which are delivering in 10 minutes. Friends, I just want you to appreciate the scale at which they are solving problems. Think about it. Middle of the night, 11:30 p.m. Uh, you order milk. So Blinkit is promising that they will deliver the milk in 7 minutes, ETA 7 minutes. So Blinkit has to know that as a customer, you will place an order for milk. So they have to predict that in advance. So they will have to do a sufficient amount of demand forecasting at their end. So I'm just trying to play out the entire Blinkit scenario for you for a minute. Okay. So what are the different aspects where analytics is getting used? One aspect is where Blinkit is trying to do forecasting to figure out that, hey, these are the quantities of milk I require. So overall in today, I require this many quantities of milk. That's a demand forecasting or inventory forecasting you'll be doing. How much of inventory you will have to store. Retail is all about inventory. How much of storage you need to have. If you store too much, it's a problem. It will go to waste, especially for perishable items like milk, it will be a waste. And if you store too little, it will be a problem. Because if you store too less milk, what will happen? Next time a customer really needs milk, they will not get it. Next time when a customer truly needs milk, they will not get it. That is the problem that you will face. Okay. If you store too much, it's a problem. If you store too little, it's a problem. Then when you really need something, you will not be able to get it. That is the issue that you will face. Okay. When you really need it, you will not get it. That's the issue with having too less. So Blinkit is trying to do demand forecasting. They're trying to estimate in advance at a particular point in time on a particular day how many milk packets will be required. That's point number one. Point number two, they are trying to figure out what is the optimal allocation of delivery people. So they have a map of the delivery people around that particular vicinity, and they're trying to forecast exactly how much of time the delivery person will take to reach the store. Because mind you, the milk packet is already lying in the store. You don't have to go and buy it from somewhere. It's basically a warehouse. So all these hyperlocal delivery startups, they have warehouses. They're just warehouses. They're completely shut. They rent the ground floor of a building or something. Localities you will find it. Localities you will find it. And the delivery person has to come there, collect the goods, and deliver to the customer. So you're trying to estimate how much of time the delivery person will take to reach the customer. The warehouse. From the warehouse, collect the item, which will probably take less than a minute, and immediately go and give it to the customer. How much time it will take to reach the customer? That is the time. That is the amount of time that is trying to predict. So there are three components involved. One is basically how much of time the delivery partner will take to reach the warehouse, given what their current location is. Based on that, based on the nearest delivery partner, the assignment is done. So that person is assigned to pick up the order. Take look at that time, how much of time it takes to pack and give the items to the delivery partner, and how much time the partner takes to reach the house from that particular warehouse. So that total time is the estimated ETA that we see now on our screen. Go to Swiggy, food delivery for a minute. It's an extremely interesting problem. And what I want you to do is I want you to think through this one. Again, Swiggy came a lot later in the Indian context. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to basically show you uh, this beautiful blog from Uber Eats. This was an engineering blog where they tried to They try to forecast the amount of time it takes to deliver, uh, the food. How does Uber Eats do the prediction? How is Uber Eats trying to predict? Okay, let me just quickly go and share this with all of you. Rohit, is it fine now? Are you able to see it? Is it okay? You were saying that it's not, you're not able to see. Is it fine now? Okay, okay. No, no, I'm not sharing anything right now, but I was just checking if you're able to access it a while. Yeah. Okay, okay. You can actually take a look at this one. Uh, excuse me. So there are two specific blogs I wanted to share with all of you. One is something called Deep ETA and how Uber predicts arrival times using deep learning. Very interesting. And this is again in the context of Uber Eats. They were one of the pioneers of this model, obviously. And then later on, obviously, in the Indian context, we had Swiggy, Zomato, all these startups coming in. So pretty much they are all using the same ideas. But very interesting how they are actually using to compute ETA, estimated time of arrival, estimated time of delivery. It's a very interesting ML problem. So one is for these companies, obviously inventory forecasting, demand forecasting is very important. So you're trying to predict how many packets of milk you need, how many packets of dal you need, how many packets of rice you need. That's one kind of problem you're talking about. So we are looking at the historical data and we are trying to estimate how many packets of each quantity we require. That's one way to look at it, right? So we are trying to figure out how many packets of each thing we require. So that's kind of like a demand forecasting that we are trying to do. The other thing is that next time you place an order, we are trying to predict how much of time it will take to reach you. And if you look at it, very interesting. They actually talk about all the different components, right? So you can see how they are actually using it to look at all the components. If you're talking about specifically the ETA, what do the consumers basically get? Okay, so they basically talk about uh, let's say if it's a food delivery kind of a use case, right? If it's a food delivery kind of a use case, so how is it actually computed? We are tracking how much time the restaurant takes to accept the order. I'm sure you have seen in Swiggy that when you place an order for something, the restaurant takes some time to accept the order because they might have a queue of all past orders. There is a certain time that it takes, maybe a few seconds to a minute they will take to accept the order. So time taken for the restaurant to accept the order, plus time taken for the restaurant to prepare the order. So it's a regression problem, right? So you're looking at the past historical data that typically around this time the restaurant prepares the chicken biryani in this much time. Typically, a restaurant prepares a dal makhani in this much amount of time, in 20 minutes. So based on the past historical data, now you're trying to predict that if I were to order a dal makhani now, if I were to order a chicken biryani now, how much time it will take to prepare. We're trying to estimate that amount of time. So we are adding up the time it takes for the restaurant to accept the order, plus the amount of time it takes for the restaurant to prepare the order, plus the amount of time the delivery person takes to reach the restaurant, collect the food, reach the parking. All of those components are also added. We're talking about a US market where you have to properly park in a designated place, walk, reach back, go to the customer's door, time it takes to reach to the customer, find parking, place the bike there, reach up to the customer's place, then come back. That is the entire time of delivery that it takes. And very interesting, this is exactly how ETA models are actually built. So it's quite interesting what we take for granted in nowadays. Like if hyperlocal delivery, we see Swiggy Instamart says the order will reach in 20, 15 minutes. It comes in 15 minutes. Powering that is an extremely complex model which is tracking multiple parameters. Of course, there are some cities where you cannot use it. Let's say Bangalore traffic is such that even Google cannot predict that in advance. Mind you, the time taken to reach the customer's place is also uh, coming, which is why during times of traffic jams or during times of rainfall and all, like even Swiggy is unable to predict accurately. Those things happen, obviously. So, but then I just wanted to clarify some use cases where these kinds of models are getting used. So one application will be definitely in the space of what we refer to as demand forecasting. So we call it demand forecasting. Another space is basically to predict how many items we will keep, to predict the time it will take for me to deliver the items. So all of those kinds of things. Not like Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime will say, okay, delivery within 24 hours. That is not machine learning. There's no real time analytics that's happening there. It's a fixed set time slot. 1 day delivery, 2 day delivery. You go to a courier office and the courier says, I will deliver the parcel in 24 hours. That is not machine learning. That is pretty standard. You're paying a certain amount of fees, and based on that, you get the order delivered in a certain amount of time. So there's no real ML that is happening in those kinds of scenarios, right? So, but then I would say machine learning is actually happening in the space of hyper local delivery in a big way, right? So this is one aspect. These are some of the major players we are talking about. No prices for getting. We have Amazon, we have Flipkart, we have Meesho, right? And these are some of the uh, what's that? Can you zoom out a little? Um, Slide is cut at the corner. Okay, that's interesting. How is that so? Just a minute. Just a minute, guys. Okay, I think I'll keep it at this. Otherwise, see, I'll just go into a full screen. If that's not visible, then probably there's some issue with the setup. That's okay, no problem. I will try to show it this way. I hope that's fine. Yeah. Or maybe let me go back to Google itself and let me show you this way. I hope this is better. Um, this sounds good. Is it okay?
Uh,
Rohit, is this fine now? Yeah.
it's fine, fine. Yeah.
Okay, great, wonderful. Yeah. Okay. So So these are some of the use cases we were discussing, right? So I hope all of you are sorted. These are some of the major players we are talking about. There are many more. We're just giving a small glimpse of the players that we have in e-commerce, and it's massive. I think overall, if we have to talk about the numbers, it's huge. No prices for getting e-commerce. If you look at the kind of acquisitions that are happening, it's huge. I mean, Amazon, Flipkart, we are all in the age of the internet. We are all educated. We are all tech savvy customers, but more than 90% of the country, I think, doesn't have internet penetration. So the kind of accessibility we have to smartphones and 5G and even 4G for that matter, broadband and internet and laptops, we can order online. These kinds of things are probably unheard of in interior parts of the country. So there's a huge scope of e-commerce and one other avenue where I see a lot of work happening in this field is especially the linguistic aspects, right? How can we support e-commerce applications in vernacular languages? Let's say Amazon Alexa, which is why Amazon has actually invested a significant amount of resources in Alexa. If you see, like Alexa is a voice assistant, right? So you can say, "Hey Alexa, order this much item," okay, something of that sort. So we are seeing a tremendous amount of support there from Amazon's context. The whole domain is called NLP. Just to clarify, so the whole domain is called natural language processing. NLP is what we call it. And the idea is that next time when customers or users from rural India or other parts of the country or some backward parts of the country who are not that well versed with technology and are not that tech savvy, they can simply turn on their microphones. They can just say Amazon दो रोटी या फिर दो दूध ऑर्डर करेंगे या फिर दो ये ऑर्डर करेंगे in Hindi. You're just uttering the thing in Hindi, and as and when you're speaking in Hindi, Amazon will go and do this for you. Like it's kind of like a speech to text kind of a system. Whereas as and when you're speaking, it will go and convert that to text, and then it will process that. Something like this. Okay, like that. So this is the dictate feature. It's a dictate feature that will try to recognize what I'm speaking, and based on that, it will try to go back and convert that into English. It is working quite well. It is trying to recognize what I'm speaking and is trying to convert that into English. Not 100% accurate, but it does the job. Real time as I'm speaking, it is looking at my speech and it is converting that to text. Imagine the Alexa kind of assistant, which already does it. Amazon already does it quite well. You can go to Alexa if you configure Alexa with your Amazon application. You can give Alexa an instruction that order this many items of this thing, and Amazon will order it for you. So these are again humongous applications in the field of e-commerce where you can basically effectively make these kinds of applications accessible to the wider. Uh, okay, अभी हम यहाँ पे हिंदी में भी बोल सकते हैं, लेकिन वो हिंदी ठीक से रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं करेगा. आप देख सकते हो जब हम हिंदी में बात करें तो वो हिंदी को इंग्लिश में ट्रांसलेट कर रहे हैं. Quite interesting. But the next challenge will be what Alexa is actually doing is जब हम हिंदी में बात करते हैं Alexa को हम हिंदी में बोल सकते हैं कि लाइट ऑन कीजिए. I think some of you have used Alexa enabled devices. Let's say हमारे घर पे एक इको, I have a Eco Dot actually, that Alexa speaker. I also have a Alexa enabled light bulb. You see that bulb I have there, that light I have there, that's an Alexa enabled one. अभी हम उसके इंस्ट्रक्शन देंगे कि लाइट ऑन कीजिए, कलर रेड कीजिए, वो चलेगा. अभी वो ऑफ है तो नहीं चल रहा है. So these are some interesting applications where you can basically make AI technologies accessible to the wider public through natural language processing. We are seeing huge investments that Amazon is making in this field, but आप देख सकते हो कि हिंदी को वो convert नहीं कर रहा. ठीक है. Anyways, so let's move on. Just wanted to show you some use cases, but this is again a big investment Amazon is making. Okay. These are some of the general business functions for a typical e-commerce company. I just wanted to give you a very, very quick rundown. And then for each of these different segments, I will talk about use cases and then we look at specific methods, how we solve them. I think marketing is obviously an extremely, extremely important problem. And talking about sales and marketing, one important term I would like to introduce here for the audience is something called the sales pipeline, right? What is the sales pipeline? What is the sales funnel? Sorry, that's a sales funnel. So what is the sales funnel, friends? What do we mean by a sales funnel? Okay, quick check with the audience. What is a sales funnel? What do you mean by a sales funnel? Have you all heard of this term called sales funnel? Anybody? This is basically what a sales funnel is. Okay, all of you can see the screen. This happens right at the initial stage when you are trying to buy a product. So obviously, it's a new product or a new service. Let's say I'll give an example to you. I'll give a very simple example to you. Let's say AlmaBetter. Now, many of you in this audience, you are not aware of the company before, right? You did not even know about us. So we are trying to make you aware. We are trying to make you aware as an organization that we exist, right? So we are trying to do these master classes with you. We are trying to market these master classes to educate you on different topics, very niche topics, not like some random topic, but some very niche topics which are a mix of technology and business. And we are trying to create awareness. That is what we that is the very first stage we are talking about prospecting, right? So prospecting be prospective customers. Okay, so it's like saying that you have not joined our course, or you have not bought a product, or you have not brought a service, but you're all prospective customers. We have reached out to you through different platforms. Let's say Facebook, Instagram, Amazon, sorry, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, something of that sort. You have all come to know of this session through different platforms. So let's say right now in the audience, we have close to 100 people. A lot of people are joined in the session. More than 100 people are in right now. Okay. So a lot of people have shown interest. A lot of people have joined the classes today. So you are all prospects. You are in stage one right now. We have reached out to everybody. We have created awareness, boss. Now the next stage will be based on this session and based on the engagement and based on the future engagements that we have with you. Let's say 70 of you will show interest. 30 of you may feel that, okay, this is very different. Data science is not something I'm looking for. But 70 of you really show interest. 70 of you are really like, okay, hey, you know what? This is the thing. It's really cool. Let's see what the next thing is. So you come to the discovery stage. So out of 100, 30 drop out, 70 stay, and 70 are in the discovery stage. You are basically what we call qualifying leads. And then those 70 people, we will try to reach out. We'll try to call them up individually, try to set up an initial meeting, and try to understand your needs a little better. And out of those 70 people, let's say based on other aspects like the pricing is an important aspect as well, other kinds of things like opportunities and all, you will go back and out of 70, let's say 40 stay back. 30 drop out on different parameters, 40 stay back. And out of those 40, they really show interest. intent. Okay, so out of 100, you can already start to see the pipeline kind of really shrink, and only 40 remain. Those 40 are the ones who really show intent. And the intent stage is where the final proposal, negotiation, all those happen. And out of 40, let's say 20 close the deal, 20 actually purchase the product. And if you leave out refunds and everything out of the way, which happens in all businesses, let's say out of 20 who eventually purchase the product, 18 completely stay back, 2 opted for refunds. That is the loyalty part. This is what we call the sales pipeline. And no matter what kind of business you're operating in, whichever the nature of your business, we are always trying to make this sales pipeline as efficient as possible. This is the entire sales and marketing pipeline we're talking about. And this is an extremely important function for the e-commerce vendors also. They're also trying to ensure that they're not only able to create awareness, but they're trying to make the customers convert. How do we create awareness? So out of every 100 customers we reach out to, how can we ensure that we have the maximum conversion rate so that the most number of people actually convert into customers? Okay. So another technical term I want to use is called leads. What is a lead? A lead is the prospecting customer, right? So lead is basically a prospecting customer. That's one way to look at it. So how do we maximize the conversion rate for these customers? That's what we are ultimately trying to do in this particular part. And the same applies for other businesses also. How do we basically increase the overall percentage of this thing? We're trying to maximize that conversion percentage. It happens for marketing functions as well. I think if you relate to the normal marketing functions typically in other kinds of businesses, it's a very big part of that as well. Because mind you, friends, it costs money to market something. Digital marketing is a hugely evolving field. I'm sure everybody has heard of that, digital marketing, right? It's a very, very expensive operation, right? So you're trying to, create Google ads and all that kind of stuff you're doing. And you're trying to do all that Google ads and all that you're doing. And it's just the digital marketing that you're doing, right? You're trying to reach out to as many brands as you can. You are trying to reach out to as many brands as you can. Okay. And that is the initial amount of investment that you're making to reach out to as many customers as you can. So that's the marketing that you do. You're reaching out to hundreds of customers. But ultimately, out of the hundreds of customers you're reaching out to, you want to make sure that those people convert, right? So let's say you do a shampoo advertisement on Facebook. You want to reach out to only the target customers. So a lot of machine learning actually gets used in the marketing field. How do you identify? So next time you go to YouTube, you see those ads, right? You see those advertisements. Okay. You see those advertisements, buy this, buy that. There's a tremendous amount of analytics that is happening there. We are trying to constantly identify who are the prospecting customers. Instead of showing the advertisements to all the customers, we are only trying to show the advertisements to those customers who are likely to buy. So we are trying to make marketing efficient. We're trying to cut down on the cost so that we are only targeting to the more so we are only trying to target these products and services to the more the relevant people, and that way we are trying to reduce the costs and increase the revenues. So only the revenues overall will also increase. That's another important thing that we have to. Okay. People come to our platform when they need something. And in retail, in e-commerce, particularly, one more very interesting concept where I see happening a lot is how do we make customers basically check out? So a lot of times you might see that customers add items to the cart, but they don't actually check out. So they are all leads for us. They're kind of like they are prospective customers for us. So you go to Amazon and you like something. So what you do, you add to the cart. That's it. You forget. But then you're not a customer, right? You're not adding into my sales, right? You simply go and add to the cart. How does it help you? So another very important problem for retail thing is how do we make sure that customers who are just randomly adding items to the cart, how do we make those kinds of customers eventually convert? That is also one more very interesting problem we are trying to solve, right? The second very interesting problem is selection. What kind of products you want to sell? Very important. Friends, this is even more important for offline retail. E-commerce is obviously online retail. Online retail, I would still say that it's okay to advertise hundreds and thousands of items, but obviously it's very important to know how to prioritize and where to show what. Very important. See, when you go to Amazon, when you go to a website like Amazon, let me open it up for you, friends. So when you go and open up a website like Amazon, you will typically not know. Let me open it up for you. So you can see there's so many products we have, right? There are hundreds and thousands of products we have right now. Now, how do you make sure that which item to find? So it is extremely important. It's extremely important to go back and ensure that we are able to select the right products. So selection is also an extremely important prediction problem. One way to do selection is very basic analytics. You can figure out that, hey, some manager will say, okay, you know what, I think this product is important, that product is important. But how do we really use data to decide what products do we really market on the platforms? And this is particularly important for uh, hyper local delivery startups like Swiggy, Instamart, or Zepto, or Blinkit. Because for these kinds of organizations, they are basically storing their goods in physical warehouses. And mind you, physical warehouses, inventory space is limited. You're paying for the retail space. Every inch of space is costly. You're paying for per square feet, right? So how do you fit in the most goods and services? How do you fit the most number of products in that very small warehouse? Because if you can fit infinite number of products, nothing like it. But how do you efficiently fit the most number of products? So selection is a very important problem. You will only want to have as much quantities of the item that is really needed, and whichever items the probability of purchase is very low, you will not want to keep it. Imagine Swiggy Instamart is selling some kind of I don't know, let's say some uh, you know uh, some very niche kind of uh, let's say buffalo milk. You will not find buffalo milk in Swiggy Instamart probably. Okay, so you'll not find a very specific brand of duck eggs. Let's say some of you are very fond of duck eggs. Duck eggs are really good. They're very nutritious also. Normal eggs you will find, but you will not find duck eggs because the probability of customers buying duck eggs is very low. Because first of all, it's very expensive, and we are looking for a set of customers who are likely to order. So just to satisfy one or two customers, I will not increase the cost at my store. So selection is a very important analytic problem. Then comes to pricing. Pricing is the other part where a lot of analytics gets used, where we are looking at historical data to identify what prices to set. Extremely important. I'm sure you've all heard of price comparison website. In fact, at Walmart, there was some time when I was actually working in the pricing analytics team. Retail companies typically they have separate departments for this. Pricing analytics is actually a very important department because this is what directly decides and this is what directly uh, contributes to whether the customer will eventually buy something or not. Because if you price the product too low, then everybody will buy, and if you price the product too high, nobody will buy. If you price the products too low, everybody will buy. If you price it too high, nobody will buy. So how do you set just about the right pricing? How do you decide the discounts? Have you wondered on what basis discounts are given? Like now the Prime Day sale is happening. Now the Prime Day sale is happening. So have you wondered how on what basis these discounts are given by Amazon? And I think now 15, 16, the Prime Day sale is happening. On what basis is the other discounts given? Prime Day deal. On what basis are these discounts given? Who decides 60% off, 63% off, 59% off? How? It's an extremely interesting machine learning problem, predictive analytics problem. If you discount too much, you lose money. If you discount too little, prices are very high, nobody will buy. People will go to Flipkart and buy. So pricing is a very sensitive topic. You're looking at the past historical data, and based on that, you're trying to predict. Okay, at this price, a lot of people tend to buy. So if I cut down the price even 10 rupees more, this many more people will buy. So a lot of those kinds of optimization problems are working in behind the scenes. It's an extremely interesting analytics problem for organizations, right? So specifically, what should be our price? Should we burn money? Should we make money? These are the kind of problems that you're trying to solve, right? And then supply chain, very important. How do you distribute? How do you deliver the product? What is the ETA? Where do we set up our warehouses? If we talk about Amazon, Amazon has specific dedicated warehouses. I'm not talking about Amazon, this one. Normal Amazon. Amazon has warehouses. So what is the hub and spoke model? What is the ETA? How much of manpower is required? All of these are analytic problems. And then finally coming to customer experience, CX. What are the customer reviews? How are the customers feeling about the product? A lot of NLP is done here, right? So if you look at a particular product, let's say you buy this particular brand of chair, look at this particular product, right? And you will see how customers have reviewed this particular product. What kind of reviews customers have given? You can go to the specific ratings that customers are given for this particular product. So come to the rating section, look at the kind of reviews and ratings customers are given. So reviews like this are 4 star. Reviews like this are again 4 star, and reviews like this are again 4 star. So we can see what kind of reviews customers are basically given. So oftentimes, Amazon is doing a tremendous amount of review analytics. They are trying to read different types of reviews. They are trying to read the text of the review, and they are trying to figure out what type of keywords are used in the review, trying to do some analysis out of it. That's the way we are running through the whole thing. Yeah. Komal, there was a question you asked a while back. Can we send customers notifications about their carts? Yes, we do. In fact, we do even better. What we do is, you might have seen companies like Swiggy, Big Basket. What they try to do is, if you have items added to the cart, they will send you messages and they will say, hey, you forgot to check out. Add this item and get 50% off. If you check out now, you get 20% off, something like that. So, so checking out is an extremely important analytic problem because a lot of customers might add items to the cart, but they don't check out. Doesn't help me. It's like a window shopper. It's like you entering a retail store, physical store. You seeing a lot of products. You see this, you see this. You waste a lot of time. Half an hour you go through the store. You select a lot of items. You shortlist a lot of items, but eventually you don't end up buying something. So how can we prod the customer to buy right at that last step? So one of the things we can go back and do is we can go back and effectively. Uh, One of the things we can effectively do is we can uh, we can basically remind the customer that, hey, you've got these items added to the cart. Do you want to continue to purchase? If you continue to purchase now, if you complete the purchase today, we will give you a flat 10% off. That will not be available tomorrow. Something like that. So how do we make potential customers? How do we make prospective lead convert to customers? So that's also a very important, interesting problem we are solving. Okay. So this is a very important thing that we are trying to do in retail also. Okay. Exactly. It's already happening. It's already happening. Sometimes what they also do is they also try to recommend similar items like let's say you add something in Swiggy Instamart. I'm sure you've seen it. Like Swiggy Instamart, you will add something to the cart, and Swiggy will say that, hey, when you add this item, also you get 20% off when you check out. So you're adding something to the cart, and they say, okay, please add this also, and you will be able to check out with 20% off. Otherwise, you will not be able to. So they're trying to force you to buy certain items as a pair, and they're also making you check out. So these are again some very interesting problems that we are solving. uh, Addressing customer concerns, friends, just to talk about it, a lot of chat gpt is getting used nowadays. I think we are seeing a huge integration of chat gpt and language models in customer support functions. The trend is still yet to pick up in a big way, but we are seeing a lot of interest in across organizations. If you look at the support system, typically customer support has historically been very static, very manual. So you reach out to customer service, somebody will manually respond to you. But we are seeing a lot of these large language models like ChatGPT and BERT kind of architectures being used to address customer concerns. Next time you ask a question, the model will automatically draft a response for you. And finally, refund policy and refund dispersal. Very interesting. How do you predict fraud? So based on the different attributes of the order, what is the probability that the transaction is a fraud or the order is a fraud, something of that. How do you prevent fraud from happening? So fraud prevention is one more very interesting customer experience use case we are talking about. Lot of analytics get used here because we have seen a lot of losses e-commerce companies that suffer due to frauds. Right? You ordered in something, but you report something else, and the company loses money. Okay. So how does it ensure that it's able to give refunds to deserving customers, but to customers who are doing fraud, we are not giving refunds? Okay. So how do you ensure that from happening? So a lot of analytics can be done. We can do analytics right at the level of looking at the picture of the image. If you see nowadays, Amazon has made clicking the picture mandatory. This was not there before. So if you try to return something in Amazon, you have to click the picture of the image. So that is automatically verified. Computer vision models are used, and based on that, the model will decide whether you're likely fraud or not. So these kinds of things are actually used in a big way today, right? And obviously, feature introduction and the monetization part we also talked about. Okay. So these are some use cases that we have, the business functions we have, and also the relevant use cases that where analytics is actually used across our e-commerce companies. This is the funnel that we talked about. I'm sure all of you understand the sales funnel I was discussing, friends. You can just give it a read. All of you are sorted. The whole objective of e-commerce companies is to increase the efficiency of this particular funnel. Okay, we are trying to increase the efficiency of this particular funnel. So out of 100 people who land on the app homepage, okay, let's say 70 of them view the product, okay, 40 of them added to the cart. This is what I was talking about. Only 40 added to the cart, but out of which, let's say only 20 check out, okay, and this many order, this many return. So this is the loyalty part. Out of the people who order, how do we ensure the order stays there? No returns happen. So until the point that return, so that is why oftentimes companies will say that we will give you the cashback only after the return window is closed, because that is what you consider a successful sale. A successful sale is not coming out to the order stage. No, a successful sale only happens when you come to this stage, because this is the part where the customer does not return. So out of 100 customers who buy, eventually 10 customers stick, don't return. So that is the conversion rate that we are talking about. And in all these aspects, machine learning is effectively getting used. Data science is actually getting used. I wanted to give you another very interesting use case to you to think through this a little better, right? Let us think through this a little better in terms of how we uh, how we apply analytics in this context. So one way to look at it is that let's imagine a customer support function, okay, just to think through this lead conversion process a little better. Now we all get these calls, right? Let's say one fine day you get a call from a bank and the bank person calls you up and says that, hey, sir, you want to take a personal loan. I'm sure it's very irritating, right? Let's say in the middle of the time when you're studying, when you're doing your work, some bank person randomly calls you up and asks you that, hey, you want to take a loan or something of that sort, right? So, I mean, so you want to open up a demat account, you want to open a savings account and something of that sort. Let's say a bank person asks you that you want to take a loan, you want to open a demat account, you want to open a savings account, and so on and so forth. Let's say those are the kind of problems we are talking about, right? Overall. Now, how does the process happen nowadays, friends? So out of 100 customers, let's say the team leader of the call center outbound support will create a list of 100 people and he will manually call all those 100 people. There is no real analytics happening. If you look at the process nowadays, there is no real analytics happening. Out of 100 people, you will randomly call up each of those 100 people and you will market them. But what if I could go back and identify, uh, what if I could do this in a bit of a better way? What if out of 100 people, I go back and identify what is the probability that the people are likely to convert? So I will not be making calls to all 100 people. I will only be making calls to, let's say, the top 30 people who are likely to convert. So previously we were making calls to all 100 people. Now we will not make calls to all 100 people. We will only make calls to the top 30 people who are likely to convert. So in a way, we are trying to use data science to look at each and every prospective customer. We are looking at each and every prospective lead, and we are trying to predict what is the probability that the lead will convert. And if the probability of conversion is high, if the probability of conversion is high, then we will go back and then we will go back and call up those kinds of customers. Only in the cases where the probability of conversion is high. That's the way we'll run through the whole thing overall. Okay, so if the probability of conversion is high, then we'll only go back and market to those kinds of customers. Okay. Now these are the conversions actually. Let me just move on. Let's come to some specific problems right now. What type of problems we basically have in e-commerce. And now we'll specifically talk about some technical aspects. So now what we'll do is we'll specifically talk about some technical aspects in terms of how we can make it happen, how we can make it work. So let us see that. Let us look at some specific technical aspects right now. Just a minute, your friends. I think these are some. This is a couple of use cases I wanted to very quickly discuss with you. I'm sure you can relate to. Look at the last one. Look at the last one. This is the way you hypothesize through different approaches, and this is the way we actually think through different types of data science problems. I think the one that is particularly intriguing is the last one. You can see the overall gross profit margin is decreasing, which is I think a very important problem for e-commerce companies generally, because we all know many of the e-commerce companies run in losses, including Flipkart. For all the valuations they have, they are actually in losses because of the deep discounting and all they do. So this should be a particularly important metric for companies because they are trying to reduce the number of losses, basically, right? So they are trying to reduce this particular number as much they can. So that is one way to look at the whole thing. So the e-commerce companies, one thing that they're trying to do is they're trying to go back and reduce the overall number of losses. Okay, and we can say that we can typically say that, hey, how is the why is the gross profit margin reducing? What is the reason? One reason could be that maybe we are giving more commission to the sellers for every item that the buyers are buying, customers are buying. We are probably giving a higher margin to the sellers. That is why our profitability is hitting. Maybe some return rate has basically gone up. Customers are buying something and they're also returning it back. Now, once we start to see that, we can identify which all product categories and which all vendors return rates are high. So maybe those vendors are in our platform, so that's why we're incurring losses. And because of those vendors, returns are happening. That's why we are incurring losses. Profits are getting a hit. So why don't we blacklist those vendors? Now we are solving the return problem. So A, you're identifying which are those vendors where feedback is very bad. So try to discard those vendors. On the second hand, what you can do is you can identify which all sellers' commissions are very high and go and negotiate with those sellers all over again. Identify certain pin codes where return rates are very high, something of that sort. Maybe return rates are very high for certain pin codes. They're likely resellers. Maybe the fraud activity is very high. So certain pin codes we can likely block because it's a cost for the company. We are spending a tremendous amount of money in basically delivering to a particular locality, but we're not getting the value for money. In fact, Amazon will do that. Amazon doesn't deliver to every single pin code in the country. There are certain pin codes that it doesn't deliver. It's how it is. Swiggy doesn't deliver to certain pin codes. Amazon can do some retrospective analysis. They can say, hey, you know what? These pin codes, the ROI is very low. The investment that we are putting together to deliver a parcel all the way there, and the return that we are getting is all in losses because nobody is accepting it. Maybe that area itself is prone to frauds. We can look at the historical data and try to shut off those operations. Something of that sort we can do, and we can identify the frauds proactively and all those kinds of things. And we can mandate prepaid to stop RTO for these orders, likely resellers. They're customers who will basically get the item, they return it, and they will resell it. So we can do prepaid and all those kinds of things, which is something you might see for certain pin code. Amazon will they will want you to do prepaid orders and all that stuff. Very, very interesting how these things happen. So one thing I want to clarify, friends, is you might have seen we have focused a lot on the business side of things today in the class also because I tend to highlight this a lot working for a technical company for all my years. Um, the business side of things is very, very important. You have to have a very good appreciation of the business. Data science is not about learning 100 tools like R, Python, Tableau, SQL, Excel, and I will have a discussion on that. We'll have a conversation with each one of you on that. Power BI, Spark, and all those cool things, AWS, Google Cloud, and all that nonsense. Tools come and go. What you had 5 years back, 5 years later, something will change, right? So it doesn't matter. Businesses will remain intact. E-commerce will be as it is. Technology is only an enabler. We are using different tools to solve business problems. So keep that at the back of your head. So if you really want to become a good data scientist, then you have to have a very good business bent of mind. You have to know your domain in and out. If I'm working for a company like Walmart, and if I'm trying to, let's say Walmart comes to me and says that, hey, Stein, you have to think through a problem. You have to basically forecast a model, and you have to build a forecasting model for the next year. How many sales will happen in Walmart next year? Oftentimes interviews go like that, and it's not a joke. It's actually a live competition that Walmart did. In fact, let me encourage people to attempt it. Let me see if you guys are able to attempt it. All of you give it a try. This is the Walmart sales forecasting that we are looking at right now. all of you. So we are also looking at a website called Kaggle. Very interesting. We're looking at a site called Kaggle right now. Kaggle is like an open source community of data scientists and machine learning engineers from across the world. They all come together on a platform like Kaggle and they share ideas and all that. That is what Kaggle is about. Here you can see the Walmart competition live on Kaggle. All of you can see this one. Okay, very interesting. This competition was hosted by Walmart. So Walmart hosted this competition, and you can start to see that Walmart used the results of the competition for recruiting people. This was 9 years back. So Kaggle is like a community. It's like an open source community where people can participate in hackathons, competitions. Different companies they advertise their data set. So Walmart hosted this competition to predict their store sales. So based on the historical store sales, we are trying to predict how much store sales happened next year, next to next year, and so on and so forth. So based on the historical store sales, how much store sales happened next year, next to next year, next to next to next year, and so on and so forth. That's one thing to keep in mind here overall. That's the problem that we are trying to solve. So we are trying to do the store sales prediction. And what I'm trying to say is that if you're asked a question like this at a company like Walmart, you have to have the domain knowledge. Because remember, to identify how much of sales will happen in a particular store, a lot of factors are important. A lot of past historical context is important. You have to look at what is your last 10 year sales. So to know how much sales will happen tomorrow, we have to identify how much sales happened in the last 10 years. So again, to identify how much sales will happen tomorrow, we have to figure out how much sales happened in the last 10 years. Look at the past historical data of Walmart. Every January, December, how much of sales happened? How much of sales happened? Look at the temperature data because sales will also differ in the temperature. So we need data from different sources. And this is where I also encourage the audience to have a very good understanding of the overall data science workflow, the data science life cycle. What is the overall life cycle of a typical project? So all these use cases that we are discussing, all these use cases ultimately fit into this beautiful life cycle. Okay. Would all of you like to give it a read? You can see it starts right from data discovery, friends. Data discovery is the part where you read through the data, a problem statement, understand the problem statement, and you try to identify what are the different, how do you go about solving the problem? What type of sources you require to solve the problem? Okay, so once again, you frame the problem statement, you read the problem statement, you frame the problem statement, and then you identify what type of data sources you require to solve this particular problem statement. That's the way you run through the whole thing. You read the problem, you frame the problem, and you identify what type of data sources you need to solve the problem. What type of sources or what type of data sources you need to solve the problem. That's the thing we identify. Right? So that is the part that we do as part of data discovery. You're trying to discover the right data sources. What type of data sources are important? And this is the part where we are discussing that when you are trying to estimate the sales in a typical Walmart store, you will look at multiple factors. You will look at, let's say, uh, the factors you will consider here will be, you will look at your past historical sales data. You will look at your temperature. You look at your weather. Okay, what was your weather? Because weather will be a very important predictor of sales. Let's say last year, December, Christmas, New Year is a very important time for US customers in Walmart stores, right? So if the temperature is not conducive, let's say last year it was a bomb cyclone, a lot of cold weather conditions were prevailing in the US. So if temperatures are not conducive, then customers will not come out and buy. So the weather data is also very, very important for a company like Walmart to predict. So if weather is not good, then sales will be low. So given all of the factors are constant, if the weather is not conducive, then people will not buy products. The other factor will be macroeconomic conditions. You will look at things like your inflation, interest rates, GDP per capita. If the US economy is not well, which is not the case last year the US economy unemployment rate and all was pretty high. So if the US economy is not doing that well, then obviously the overall sales will be low. That's one way to look at it. So the overall sales will be low if the US economy, let's say, is at an extremely is not performing very well. That's one way to look at it. Now, All of these are the typical data sets. All of these are typical data sets that are actually very, very important to attempt the problem and to predict how much of sales will happen. And that's why I've been repeating that understanding the business is very, very important. That's why it took quite some time to understand the business aspects of e-commerce. Because once you understand your business, let's say estimated time of arrival, demand forecasting, return fraud prevention, all these different use cases we talked about, right? Predicting the probability the customers will convert, what is the probability the customers will check out, right? Increasing the efficiency of the sales funnel. So many use cases we looked at in retail, in e-commerce generally, right? But in all these use cases, you have to have the business context. Only then you can decide what type of data will be required, what type of data sources will be required, and then you will be able to read your data, pre-process your data, and build your models. So step one, again, you frame your problem. So step one, you go and frame your problem. You frame the problem statement. You define the problem statement. So first step, you go and define the problem statement. Step two, you do the data discovery. Data discovery is the part where you figure out what are the different sources of data you require. And then you do data ingestion. Data ingestion is the part where you read your data, ingest your data, you read your data. And then we do data wrangling or data pre-processing, where we pre-process our data. We look at the raw data and we pre-process it. We try to transform it, we impute it, and all those kinds of things we do. These are the technical aspects. In fact, step number three is regarded as one of the most important steps in a typical data science life cycle, right? So the raw dirty data that you're getting from the original source system is not good enough. Let's say in the Walmart prediction use case, we have one data coming from Walmart systems, the past historical data, sales data. We have some data coming from public weather sources, temperature data. We have some data coming from US government sources, macroeconomic data. We have some data coming from the stock markets, S&P 500. How are the stock markets doing? Because given every other factor is constant, if the stock markets are not doing well, then the economy is also not doing well. And if the economy is not doing well, then customers will not buy in Walmart stores. So these are all interrelated factors, right? So you can see that how these factors will overall matter. So step one, step two, step three, you pre-process your data, you clean your data, then you do exploration, data exploration, and then finally five, six, seven, eight, nine are the parts where you start building your predictive models. So the general workflow that we follow in a typical predictive analytics or a data science project. Okay, again, give and take some plus minus, some factors here and there, but these are a broad set of steps that we follow. Okay, there are some technical aspects that are involved here. These are different libraries, Python libraries, and all that we use. Okay, so these are again very different. Uh, I wanted to share one more very interesting problem with you. And the reason I'm talking about Kaggle is because we do this often in our courses also. So when I go back and teach for AlmaBetter, we also take these kinds of examples and competitions quite a lot. So for example, this was another competition that was conducted. American Express default prediction problem. Very interesting. This was a competition more recent, almost a year back, by American Express. It conducted a competition to predict what is the probability a customer will default. Very interesting. And I'm once again highlighting these competitions because these are real competitions by real organizations. This is the top credit card issuer, American Express. $100,000 prize money. Anybody can participate. And you're looking at live Amex data. And Amex also use the results of the competition for hiring purposes. Opportunity to interview with American Express. If you do well, you get an opportunity to interview with American Express. So these are some very interesting, use cases that we are actually talking about. So if you go back and do well, you can start to see how uh, these kinds of solutions are actually getting eventually they're basically getting used. Okay. And once again, from a data perspective, what type of data sources do you think are required in this particular case? Well, one will be the customer data. So we are trying to predict what is the probability the customer will default. Okay, so you're already an historical American Express cardholder. You've been using, and this is not only for Amex. It can also be for an e-commerce context. The Amazon Pay Later or the Flipkart Pay Later loans that are given to you, 15-day repayment, like a simple, MobiKwik Pay Later, free charge Pay Later. Everything is Pay Later nowadays, right? So 15 days credit they are giving you nowadays, right? So these are all done in a way. These are all predictive analytics models. These are only given to customers whose probability of default is low. So the brands are trusting that, okay, within 15 days, if you repay, we will give you the credit for free. After that, interest and all will be coming. So when you're approved for these things, these models are constantly trying to predict what is the probability will default. So you look at your civil score, your past records and all that. And based on that, they are trying to estimate what is the probability will default. And if your probability of default is very low, only then we will give you the card. Only then we'll give you the loan. Only then we'll give you this pay later scheme. Else we will not. Even Ola Postpaid and all, if you see, Ola Postpaid starts with some 2000 rupees, 1000 rupees and all. And as you start using Ola more and more, as you start repaying more and more, you will see by default the postpaid will increase. Okay, credit card limit. Credit limit will also increase. Initially, banks will give you 50,000 rupee credit limit, but as and when you use the card more, as and when you keep repaying more, you will see that the credit limit also automatically increases over time. So these are some very interesting problems that we start seeing are happening. But the whole idea was to appreciate and give you a series of business problems that are actually getting solved, not only in e-commerce, but across the board, and how we think through a typical data science lifecycle. I hope all of you appreciate the whole scheme of things, how it's actually working out, right? So yeah, I think we talked about this one also. Very interesting problem. Funnel drop off increase from cart to order. How do we increase persons from going to cart to order? How do we increase probability of checkout? So are there specific products that they're not buying or something? Maybe the language they're not understanding or the product thing is very complex. So oftentimes, we can do A/B testing, hypothesis testing to figure those things out. So some of those things are also there. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on, friends. Another very interesting thing that we do in e-commerce is personalization. Very interesting. I know it's really cool and it's a little mind-boggling to think, but then uh, every instance of Amazon that you see is unique for every user. Okay, it's hard to believe. It's just like YouTube. Okay, the ideas are same. The recommendation systems powering them is the same, pretty similar. But this is the idea of personalization. You look at your Facebook news feeds, look at your Netflix feeds, look at your Spotify feeds, look at your YouTube video feeds. For every unique user, when you refresh the browser, the different set of things will come. YouTube.com is the same. See, if I open up incognito, so friends, if I open up incognito window, okay, now, if I open up incognito, YouTube will be the same. No problem there. We are not discussing and debating about that, okay? So if I open up incognito, YouTube will be the same. No problem. Okay, so if I just maybe sorry, I'm not logged into incognito here. Maybe if I just open up my private window, incognito means it has to be private browser. Okay, let me open up Edge. Let me show you. Okay, that will be clearer. If I open up incognito, if I open up YouTube.com like this, otherwise my profile will show up, right? But if I open up YouTube like this is completely something that everybody will see. If anybody is accessing YouTube from my location, currently my pin code, everybody will see the same set of videos. This will be fixed, static. Oftentimes, the most popular things will show up here right now. Okay. But then when you sign in, YouTube will show you more personalized recommendations based on what you watch. More of the videos you watch, certain types of videos you watch, certain type of content you watch, that's personalized. And that is the whole idea. Even if I search for Amazon, the default Amazon page is very different compared to what I see for my personalized page. If I go to Amazon.in, okay, so anybody who goes to Amazon.in from the default page, the kind of things that you see will be very different. You can see very different. So this is what you will see. But is it the same that I was seeing before, friends? Let me go to my own homepage. So I just showed you my own homepage of Amazon, right? So my homepage was different, right? I was not seeing the same items, right? So whatever default page, see, I'm logging in from the same IP, the same browser, right? You can see I'm logging in from the same IP, the same browser, everything. Okay. So I'm basically logging in from the same IP, the same browser, everything. You can see this is my Amazon page. You can already start to see this is what I'm able to see right now. This is my sign. This is my account, right? You can see this one, and this is the default. Where is one? This is the one. This is the default. Sorry, not this one. The default is this one. You can already start to see it's different. Here it is starting 299. Amazon 70% off, 35% off medicine same day delivery. Okay, and MacBook Air. This is the advertisement that we are seeing. But if I go to my page, it's different. I'm not seeing the same thing because mine, the kind of things I buy is different. So Amazon thinks I'm not so much into MacBooks. I'm not so much into medicines. Maybe I've never purchased medicines before, whatever. So these are things I know. So Amazon will not show me this stuff. So the homepage that it shows to general users and the homepage it shows to me for more customized users will be different. Amazon will rather show me things that's related to what I viewed. I viewed chairs. I was trying to look at chairs more. This is something. But if you look at this page, it will not show me that section of only. This section will not even come here. This is incognito, right? You can already start to see. Pick up from where you left off. Order from your lists. These related to items you viewed. Customers also viewed this. These are things that will not even come here. because this is completely unpersonalized. No sign-in has happened. Okay. So I hope all of you can appreciate why the personalization part is very important. How does it happen? I will specifically, what's that? I'll specifically show you. But this is some very interesting use cases, how personalization and how recommendation happens. So I think in more technical terms, we refer to this whole thing as a recommender system. So what do we call it? We call it a recommender system, where we are trying to recommend the top items. So this is the recommendation algorithm that is there. So it uses machine learning to create personalized experiences for customers. And this is the same recommendation system that is powering Netflix. Netflix recommends movies to users. Spotify recommends songs to users. You can look at Amazon, which recommends e-commerce items to users. We can also use the same system for LinkedIn, social networking sites. You find out your friends, discover friends, things like that. All those kinds of things we can go back and do. Right. So these are some interesting problems we have here. This is again recommendation. Machine learning algorithms are used to suggest products to customers based on their purchase data and browsing behavior. I showed you something very similar here. So very interesting. I've been seeing a lot of products related to, let's say, this one. So deals to items you've viewed. I've been seeing some some purifiers, water purifiers lately. So these are some deals that Amazon is clearly showing me, right? So very interesting how we're able to see all these things happening overall. Pricing also very interesting space. I think I discussed about these things already at a high level. We're just seeing some snippets of the same. So pricing analytics again, how Amazon real time decides how much pricing to give, how much discount to give. If you give too much discount, it's a problem. Too little discount is a problem. It's a prediction problem. At every point in time, you're trying to predict the specific price right down to the last rupee. Well, we can debate and discuss, Ryan, why is it 57,999? Why not 60,000, 58,000? Very interesting. So a lot of analytics has happened to figure out that when we give certain numbers, then people are more likely to buy. And you will be surprised, but then this actually happens. Like there's certain numbers where people like to buy more. There's always a psychological factor. No, if you set a product price as 1999 via if you vis-a-vis if you set it as 2000, there's a huge psychological factor. I mean, in retail, we have actually observed that. You set 1999, you will still buy, but the moment I make it 2000, you will not buy. You think it's 2000 or 2000, and 1999 is still fine. 2000 not fine. 1900 absolutely fine. 2000 not at all fine. So we have seen those kinds of things through hypothesis testing. So again, very interesting. You see this pattern playing out a lot in Amazon also. You will see typically items which are priced around that. Let's say 12,867, but why not 13,000? Well, we can debate about it. See 12,999. So this is the thing again. This is same use. I'm not saying it's happening everywhere. Most of the time you will see this happen. Most of the time. See 3999. See live use case playing out in front of you. Live use case 3999, not 4,000, but they're setting it as 399. Okay. Anyways, oh, absolutely, Rohit. They keep a log of everything you search. Otherwise, we basically call it a, so Rohit, since you asked me a question, let me clarify. In more technical terms, we call it a user item interaction matrix. What do we call it? We call it a user item interaction matrix. Uh, so I repeat again for more technical terms, in more technical terms, we call it a user item interaction matrix. So we list out the users along the rows. We list out the items along the column. Okay, I repeat again, we list out the users along the rows, we list out the items along the column, and we try to track the interaction. So let's say I'm a user in Amazon and there are different items that I'm browsing. So Amazon is constantly tracking which item I'm browsing, which item I'm clicking on. So the same way that you're interacting with items, e-commerce items on Amazon, is the same way that you will probably interact with movies on Netflix, or the same way you will interact with songs on Spotify, or the same way you will interact with videos on YouTube. We call it a user item interaction matrix. So you will typically keep a log of something like, let's say you are the user, you're the customer, and you are watching this video this many number of times. Again, you are the user or you're the customer, and you're watching this video this many number of times. Again, you are the user, you're the customer, you are watching this particular video this many number of times. So that's the way we are actually tracking the whole thing. Search is also a very interesting space, kind of related overlapping idea that we talked about. So machine learning algorithms are used to improve the search experience. Oftentimes what happens is we search for items. And I think this is the same part where we search for something, drop downs come. The experience is very similar to what happens in Google search. When you start typing, autocomplete will happen. So the models will try to guess what type of products you're trying to search. Language models are actually used. They'll try to guess what type of products you're searching. If you search for MacBook, all the different variants of MacBook will come. Even if you start typing MAC, the models will try to guess what type of product you're likely to search. And then when you click on the search button, it will show the most likely products based on your recommendation, personalized. These are the broad series of different techniques that are being used. I'll try to take a little time technically to talk about each of these things and how these things are actually used in the different use cases we discussed in the class today. But I hope all of you are able to follow along the recommendation and personalization part that we discussed a lot. This is the basic idea behind the personalization. And you might be wondering, why did we all of a sudden take YouTube? Because I want to talk about that the products are the same, the algorithms are the same. So whatever is powering YouTube's personalization is the same thing behind Netflix personalization, is the same thing behind Spotify personalization, is pretty much the same thing behind any e-commerce company personalization. You go to Swiggy, Instamart, Swiggy will also recommend to you the items that you typically buy. And they will recommend to you that, hey, based on your search results, this is what we think you might buy next. Let's say you buy a lot of milk items, grocery items, and all that. So Swiggy might recommend, hey, this is what I think you might like. So something of that sort. These are home feed recommendations, up next videos, personalized ads. This is the digital marketing I was talking about. Like brands are constantly trying to figure out who are the customers who will buy their products. So brands are also constantly trying to figure out who are the customers who will try to buy their products. So who are the customers that are likely to buy their products? So brands are also like to trying to constantly figure it out. So you're reaching out to hundreds of customers, and out of 100 customers you reach out to, only a few actually convert. That's one way to look at it. So personalized ads, you're trying to only show those advertisements where the probability of conversion is high. Okay, so this is also recommendation happening. And finally, this is the personalized recommendation system we were discussing all this while. In fact, friends, there are several aspects where recommendation happen. And I will take a little time here to talk a little bit about the recommendation space, maybe. These are the series of different approaches and techniques that are being used, basically. Let's take a little while to discuss about some of these things. First of all, talking about recommendation system, uh, there are different types of recommendations that basically happen. To talk about it a little bit more technically, let me just open up a couple of slides. Before that, natural language processing. What is the avenue where NLP is getting used, friends? Quick Q&A. Kind of like a Q&A actually. We have discussed these things, but let me just test the audience a little. So, which is the avenue where NLP is getting used? We'll have a quiz shortly, but just to test you out, where do you think the avenue where NLP is getting used in the e-commerce space? Where is natural language processing getting used? What is the use case I talked about? Anybody? Anybody wants to give it a try? Okay, we're getting a chat. Audio, video like Alexa, Rohit, absolutely right, sir. I think you can go and type queries. You can say something. The speech to text thing I was talking about, very good. So I can basically say, hey, Amazon, okay, Amazon, order this. Okay, Alexa, order this, and so on and so forth. And Alexa will order it for me. Very good. That's an NLP use case. Another great natural language processing use case is how Amazon processes reviews, right? So if I go to Amazon Business, let's say if I search for a particular item, you will see how these items are grouped on the basis of different attributes. If I go to the review section, sorry, excuse me, this is the other avenue where NLP is getting used. If I just go to the rating section, you can see how Amazon reads to the different types of reviews that people have written. And based on the different reviews that people have written, Amazon is able to extract the different key phrases. Power bank, fast charging, stopped working, waste of money, fully charged, and so on and so forth. So based on the different reviews that people have written, Amazon is able to extract the key phrases. These are the key phrases it has extracted. So power bank, fast charging, super fast, waste of money, Dell latitude, and so on and so forth. It is able to extract those specific key phrases. So based on the entire text of the review, it is able to extract the different the key phrases. You're able to see that. Okay, these are the key phrases we are able to see right now. Overall, those are the key phrases we are able to spot. Okay, all of you can see that. This is again a great application of NLP, natural language processing. And how this helps is you're able to look at the reviews, you're able to see what type of comments people have made on the different reviews, and you're able to kind of figure out what people are talking about. You might be wondering, that's fine. What is the specific technique that we have used behind the scenes for this one? We call it topic modeling. And we use algorithms like LDA for doing this one. It's a bit of a different topic, but then we call it latent dirichlet allocation. We use something called LDA to do these kinds of things. So we look at the review and we identify the most common topics from that particular review. What is that review talking about? The review is talking about this, this, this. This is also extremely useful for social media use cases like Twitter, Facebook, and all that kind of stuff, where we have some person delivering a speech or some person giving writing an article, and you want to basically go back and identify that what are the key phrases or what are the key topics that are being talked about in this entire conversation. So these are some great use cases of NLP that we have in the e-commerce space, friends. And also the whole idea of customer support. I see a lot of customer support revolutionizing in a big way. Let's say you get something in Swiggy and you raise a you talk to customer support. Now, one kind of interaction is the typical call-based interaction, and a lot of data science is being applied to it. Next time you call up a customer care person, we are looking at your speech, we are looking at what you're saying, and speech to text is happening. And based on that, we are trying to identify, um, the tone of your conversation, um, the overall. We are trying to identify the overall we are trying to identify the overall tone of your conversation. We are trying to identify the overall sentiment of your conversation based on the kind of keywords you're using. Are you using some negative keywords? Are you using some positive keywords? And based on that, we are trying to identify the overall sentiment of the tone of your conversation. Those are some of the things that we are trying to do. Okay, that's one of the things that we have here overall. So and based on that, based on that, we are trying to identify the sentiment. We can call up the customer care, and the customer care from the Amazon end, they will know that, hey, here is Sayan who called today. He ordered this item, and this is when he called. We had a 2-minute interaction with Sayan, and whatever interaction I did will be summarized in terms of text, speech to text. I already showed you, and the sentiment of that conversation will be stored. So Sayan was unhappy about this issue, or overall Sayan was very unhappy. So see, one thing that we do is we rate the customer care conversation. Amazon asks us for a feedback at the end. We don't have to do that. Now we can create transcripts. So based on the transcript, Amazon will automatically know that based on the mode of the conversation, based on the tone of the conversation, we can predict whether the customer was happy or satisfied or unhappy. And we can also talk about what are the key phrases that came out, what are the key topics that came out of the whole conversation. So a lot of use cases for NLP. NLP, again, the other aspect where it comes in handy is the customer support function, where you type on chat, the virtual assistants and the chatbots we see, where based on the queries you ask, you get certain types of answers. Not like the typical, uh, basic rule-based queries, but these are truly intelligent queries we're talking about, right? So one way we can design chatbots is this, where we can just give a set of rules, just like what happens in Swiggy, right? You say my order is delayed, and Swiggy will send an automated message saying that, hey, it's on its way, nothing to worry. Relax, and order will be there by 1:45. And here is the number to call up the delivery person, and so and so. That's one way to do the whole thing. The other way to do the whole thing is you can absolutely you can you can effectively identify you can effectively identify the other way we can do this is we can pretty much go back and we can uh, So now, what we will quickly do is we look at a few other use cases. We talked quite a bit about NLP, natural language processing. What are the avenues where it comes in handy? Yeah, Rashid, Rohit, I think I lost you there for 10 seconds. Hope I'm back. Hope you're able to hear me. Image recognition is another great use case. What could be a potential application of image recognition? This is the idea where you can search based on a picture. I'm sure everybody has seen that feature. Exactly like Google Lens, you can actually search on Amazon based on the picture. It is not it you have it in the mobile application feature. Mobile app, you can basically kind of click a picture of an item and you can search in Amazon based on the picture. I'm sure you have seen that, right? So you don't just have to type the name, but in Amazon app you have that feature where you can just give the you can just go back and give the picture of the feature, and based on the image the thing will effectively happen. So I'm sure you've all seen that thing. So this is the thing that it looks like. All of you can see my screen, right? So let me just see if I can show you. I think it doesn't come up that way. Blur the background. Sorry, 1 minute, friends. You can see this. Now you can see this option. When you're typing, when you're searching, you can see this option. This one. People can see there's a small option. How do I point out? Okay, I think I can just use a pencil to point out. You can just see this particular option. Next time you search on Amazon, you can see this particular option there. Can you see this one there? Search based on picture. This one. This one. Click on this one, and if you click on this one, you can basically search based on a picture. Now you can go back and just click an image of something. So let's say I want to buy this mouse, friends. Okay, I want to buy this mouse. So what I can do, I can just go and take a picture of the mouse. I can just go and take a picture of the mouse. This is image recognition. So it's just like Google Lens, right? So we are taking a picture. I don't have to type it somehow. Let's say I don't even know what the hell it's called. And it's particularly useful in situations where I come across a new product and I want to search for it. You see somebody is wearing a dress and you want to search for it. Very interesting. Okay. You know what this is? This is very cool. I have a lifelong camera. This is a video recording camera. It's kind of like I use it for some surveillance purposes in my home and office and all that. So it's a surveillance camera. Okay. So what I can do is let's say none of you know. It's very new. So it's let's say lifelong device. I want to just click a picture. Let's say Amazon is able to find it. Okay. So I'll just search a picture. Click a picture. See, it searches. Search kara. Searches. And after a while it says, oh, I think it didn't recognize. Huh? No, it did recognize. Oh, I need to rotate it. Huh? Oh, you're able to see. You can see video cameras. I hope you can make out. Okay. It doesn't show the exact one, but it shows similar results to me based on what I've searched. This is actually a lifelong device, but it doesn't show the exact same brand name because maybe that brand name is not there in Amazon. But it shows me other similar devices. This is completely using the technology of Google Lens. And specifically, if you ask me what is it using, it uses computer vision, CNN, and image classification. The same technology that is driving Google Lens, Google Photos, and so on and so forth. Right. So very interesting use case. We are seeing this happening a lot. And potentially game changer when it comes to the world of retail and fashion, because oftentimes we see somebody wearing some dress and we want to buy something very similar. And let's say I'm having a particular shirt and I want to buy a similar pairing jeans. So I want Amazon's recommendations for that. Hey, look at the entire vast catalog of products you have and give me the most recommended thing for this jeans, something of that sort. So great use cases, I would say. We also have clustering segmentation. These are particularly useful in the context of customer segmentation. Amazon is doing a tremendous amount of customer segmentation, friends. Okay, so we are looking at a huge amount of customer data. So, for example, when I browse to Amazon, Amazon already knows who I am. Amazon is able to see my customer data. It knows I have placed this many orders. I've been a customer since 2014. I have bought total this many worth of products. These are the pin codes I've ordered from. These are the delivery addresses I've used. These are the kinds of items I've purchased. These are the number of returns I've done. So Amazon knows everything about me. So based on each and every attribute of the customer, so we can typically do clustering. It's a kind of unsupervised learning, customer segmentation we can do to identify different groups or segments of customers. So customers like this are very premium. Customers like this are like moderate. And customers like this are absolutely fraudulent. So these kind of customers we want to drop. And customers who are very premium, we want to segregate them out. And we want to go back and we want to specifically market and target the products to only those segments of customers. Bit of a technical term I use, Rohit. It's clustering. It's slightly technical term. We'll not go to that in the session today, but then it's actually clustering. Think of it like clustering. So Rohit, it's like we are trying to cluster. We are trying to divide the customer into different buckets or groups. Think of it that way. So by looking at the attributes of the customers, we are looking at the features of the customer. How many times you purchase? What is the total value of purchases you have done? What kind of categories you have mostly purchased? When did you last purchase? When did you first become a customer? We're looking at each and every attribute of the customer. And based on that, we are trying to create different groups or cohorts or clusters of customers. Customers like cluster 1, customers like cluster 2, customers like cluster 3, customers like cluster 4, customers like cluster 5. We are trying to create different groups or clusters of customers.
And now we are trying to target each and every group or customer separately. So we are trying to build different groups or clusters of customers, and we are trying to target different groups of customers differently, clusters separately. So these are the different clusters we build, and you might be wondering what is the benefit of clustering this way. So the major benefit of clustering this way would be that after we identify those clusters, after we identify clusters 1, clusters 2, clusters 3, and so on and so forth, after we identify the different clusters of customers, what we can do is now we can go back and we can after we are able to identify the clusters effectively, now we can say, okay, this cluster we want to target this way, this cluster we want to target this way, and this cluster we want to target this way. So now you can say that, hey, this is the premium cluster of customers, and for this particular premium group or cluster of customers, we want to target them in a certain way. For this particular premium group or cluster of customers, we want to target them in a certain way. And for this particular premium group of customers, we want to target them in a certain way. Let's say Swiggy will do this clustering, customer segmentation. Swiggy finds that for certain customers, they have not been ordering for a long time, right? So what will Swiggy do? They will try to reach out to these customers with a voucher. So customer segmentation has huge repercussions in this particular space. Rohit, otherwise, technically, it's a bit of a different topic. I can just tell you, so unsupervised learning is a kind of machine learning where there is no outputs or labels that are present. So it's only working based on the features of the customer. There's no outputs that we have. You're only looking at the customer attributes, and you're trying to group the customers into different buckets or different categories. And this you are doing for strategic targeting. So for different groups, you want to target them separately. Happens a lot in telecom also. You might be identifying different groups or cohorts of customers in telecom. And you want to target them differently with different data offers and recharge offers and something like that. So customer segmentation is a very popular problem that we are solving in analytics today, right? And then we have different types of recommendation systems also. I just wanted to very quickly, the specific one that we use for personalized recommendation is what we refer to as collaborative filtering. Technically, it's a different topic, but then generally speaking, what we do in Amazon is we have different levels of recommendation. Let's say when I search for this particular power bank, Ambrain 40,000 mAh power bank, what we see when we search for this particular power bank, we see different types of recommendations. One, we get to see similar products. So Amazon basically gives you different types of recommendations, right? So I think it will be better if I show you for a particular mobile phone. Or I think typical smartphones recommendations are better. Just wanted to show you a small use case. These are the different categories that you have right now, friends, and you can just search for specific category and check. That what types of different recommendations are there. Okay, you can see this is one kind of recommendation we are able to see. Where Amazon tells me customers who view this also view this. Amazon also tells me featured items you may like and compare with similar items. This is called a product-based recommendation. What it does is it looks at the features of the phone and it recommends similar phones for me. It does not take into account the interaction of the users. It doesn't matter what user I am or who is the user and all that. No, it just looks at the item. It looks at the features of the item. What is the battery? What is the RAM? What is the processor? And it compares with similar items. This is a different kind of recommendation. Okay. And then if you go down, you will see other kinds of recommendation. Okay. Products related to the item. What other customers do? What other items do customers buy after viewing the item? Very interesting. See the different ways how Amazon is doing it. So they're saying, hey, you know what? Typically people who view this also buy this. So they're trying to entice you into adding these products also. So very interesting. Different levels of recommendation they have done. And I wanted to show this in a different context. Let's say this is not only in the context of Amazon, this is also for 1mg. 1mg is a medicine delivery startup, right? So all of you know 1mg, Tata has acquired 1mg. Let's say if I search for this particular vitamin C tablet called Limsi, you can again see in 1mg platform, there are so many levels of recommendation happening. One, it will go back and tell you that these two are frequently bought together. So it is looking at the historical data of all the orders that have ever been placed. And it is telling you that customers who bought this also bought this. Customers who bought the Limsi tablet also bought Zandu aloe vera juice. So these two items are frequently bought together. It's called market basket analysis. This is called market basket analysis. This is the same technology that retail stores typically use to decide which items they should basically go and stock together. So customers, retail stores will typically stock soap and shampoo together. Soap, Dabur soap and this shampoo together. Because they have seen that these two items are going well together. So that is what 1mg see. This will constantly change. You can see this results after a week's time, it will change. This is one kind of recommendation happening. This is called market basket analysis, a priori. You can read about it. It's called a priori algorithm. Market basket analysis. Okay. Then the other kind of recommendation that is happening is this one. Similar products. This is called product-based, content-based filtering. You can read about it. Don't want to get too much into the aspects right now. This is called content-based filtering. This is recommendation happening only on the basis of the content, only on the basis of the attributes of the medicine. We are trying to recommend similar medicines. We're not looking at who purchased, what they viewed, and all that. We're just looking at the attributes of the composition of the medicine, and we are trying to recommend similar medicines. This is vitamin C, 500 mg of sodium ascorbate is there. Similar medicines are being recommended. Coming down, this is collaborative filtering. What are we using here? We are using something called collaborative filtering here. This is the part where we start to look at the overall, the interaction of the users also. Now we are starting to say that customers who bought this also bought this. Now this is collaborative. Now we are looking at the customer attributes also. And you can already start to see that in one page, there are several different types of recommendations that are actually getting used. And even if I don't sign in, right up front in the home page, we will go back and see something called popularity-based recommendation. What is popularity-based recommendation? Popularity-based recommendation is the thing that you see on the first page, the home page. When I go to the Amazon Prime page, see, Amazon cannot tell me that, hey, you're not signed in, I will not show you anything. Then people will come out of the page, right? So you have to show them something. The most popular videos, the most popular items. Spotify has to show the most popular songs. Netflix has to recommend the most popular movies. First time you sign in, Netflix has to show you something. That is popularity-based. So there are different recommendation systems that we combine. And typically, in a more real-world scenario, we look at something called a hybrid approach. The hybrid approach is what we use in a more real-world scenario. Just wanted to give you a flavor of everything that's happening in e-commerce. I hope all of you got a good sense. And, this is pretty much the objective today as well, just to educate all of you that data science is not linked to only technology. The business angle is also very important. How you think through different types of problems impacting retail and how different types of different types of problems are getting solved using some technical ideas also. We have not delved into too much of technology today. Those are for the courses and the content that we cover in our curriculum later on. But this is just to give you a general understanding and an overall big picture, 30,000 feet overview into the beautiful world of retail. Right? I hope all of you had a good session. We'll have a very quick 2-minute quiz. And after that, we will walk you through some aspects of our program as well. And I will also take up some quick questions if people have any. So we'll just quickly do that as well. We'll quickly have a quiz as we go along. So any questions anybody has, I will also quickly take it up in the meantime while I just start the quiz. Any questions, friends? Any career questions you can put on Q&A. We'll be taking it up as we go along. Any other general questions you can absolutely ask, friends. I think generally speaking, yes, one person will take care of all the aspects. I think in smaller companies, that is what will happen. You're talking about getting the data, understanding the problem statement, and then doing the whole thing end to end. But there are a lot of aspects of data science. There's ML ops, there's deployment. One is the development part, one is the deployment part. See, ultimately, these machine learning things are not just isolated in silos, but they are part of a larger application. Let's say Facebook. Facebook has a news feed algorithm. That's the data science part, but then that has to be embedded in the application. So as a data scientist, you will not do that because you don't know the application development stack, right? So there are multiple components involved. But then typically in larger projects, there are typical smaller teams that are involved in that. The analyst typically comes in the EDA stage, the exploration stage, the data analysis stage, the data exploration stage. They're the people involved in typically the part where they're analyzing the data and all that. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Okay, great. Any other questions? Just want to quickly take up any questions if you have any. I would say cookies definitely, it kind of really helps you track things. You get to track the session. I'm sure you've seen things like, I think you can post your question to all participants, Roshan. That way everybody will know. Yeah, so, right. So just to clarify, what is this cookies thing? Cookies thing is basically used to keep a track of the changes in a way, I would say. That is the way you get to know. Like in ClearTrip, you're booking a flight and you come out of it. So ClearTrip will still remember, hey, Sayan, you were booking that flight. Do you still want to continue something of that sort? So those are some use cases we are talking about actually. Yeah. Okay, I will quickly start a Kahoot quiz, something that we also do in our classes in a big way. And this one is a good one. We'll quickly start the quiz, and there's a set of 4 options. We have a very quick MCQ. I'm sure people will love it. I'll give you 20 seconds to sign up very quickly, real fast. We'll take 20 seconds to sign up, and just to kind of get a sense of how you have understood the session, how much you enjoyed the session. We'll quickly just see. This is the game pin. I'll just copy the link to share. All of you can just click on the link as it is, fire it up, and you can just join the Kahoot quiz, please, friends, all of you. The prize is fun for people who want to answer the question. And 20 seconds stop. Start on and go to the program work. Just click on the link. Click on the link, I think. Click on the link, I think, you please. Okay, 17 of you are here. Good to see. Come on, this close to 50, I'm expecting. So some of you are still to join. Let's wait for a minute. Anybody facing any challenge, and just ping the link once again. We need 20 seconds more. 19, 18, 17, 18. 10 more seconds. Just click on the link. No need to download the app and all. Just download the link. Just click on the link. Set of 4 questions. You can mark the one that you feel the best. Results will show up real time, and goodies we want for people to do. Time's up. 5 seconds more. After that. Thank you for your participation, each one of you. Let's start on. Okay, let's see. DBMS stands for Database Management. Sorry, I'm interrupting a little bit. So DBMS stands for Database Management System, which is used to manage your databases. Something very basic. Rest you can relate to, I think. Yeah, they didn't give the detailed answer, but I think most of you answered it correct. Yes, very good. DBMS has nothing to do with AI. It's a very static system. You store your data. That's pretty much what it is. Very good, friends. Let's go to the next one. We have PPS. Who is PPS? Please write your full name. Ketan third, and Angry Rover is second. So just maybe you can just put your names on chat. We get to know you. So we're going to reach out to you. People are doing well in the quiz. Okay, next one. Okay, is an application of AI. I think is very clear: language understanding, problem solving, I think one is very clearly out. Applications on the cloud is nothing to do with AI. You can do it with normal software development. That's nothing to do with data science. Application development is a different stack. Option 4, website development is a very different stack, nothing to do with AI. You can do website development, HTML, CSS, that's different. And option number 3 is again very different because we are talking about cybersecurity, ethical hacking. How do you exploit vulnerabilities? Is different. I think we can debate option 3 has something to do with AI because we can use analytics to estimate or predict malware, ransomware prediction, ransomware detection. Those features are there, but generally speaking, in a traditional setup, it's still just normal cybersecurity use cases. But yeah, I think this is more like language understanding, NLP, problem solving. Like the language models that we have today is an application of AI. Yes, good. Next one. Find your search experience. It's language. So you have answered it already. I think I gave you the hint already before you're answering. I know it was a little tricky, but natural, because you're searching, it's typing, right? It's got to do something with natural language. So it's got to be NLP because you're typing, and based on what you're typing, I would say that based on what you're typing, based on what you're typing, the queries are coming. It's completely NLP. So not going to be deep learning is what is used behind the scenes. Reinforcement also to some extent behind the scenes, but it's going to be NLP. So the larger series of algorithms are part of NLP. I know the answers are a little overlapping, little vague, but the whole field of thing is around NLP. Text search is completely around NLP. Okay, yeah. Okay, so Sharik is leading. Very good. 2699. Next. I think it should be an easy one. Very good. Most of you answered it correctly. It's going to be very clearly the first one. You're trying to adjust prices based on various factors, right? Obviously, that's what we are doing in dynamic pricing. And the last one, let's go on this one. Might you personalize product recommendations? We're looking at recommendation engine. I know I've named this term a couple of times towards the end. Very easy one. I'm sure everybody will answer. So him, the last topic I took out, different types of recommendation engines. Right? Remember, I already mentioned at the end. Oh my God, why did people answer clustering? Guys, this is provide personalized product recommendations. I gave a hint, I mentioned it at the end. Remember? I even wrote it on chat. I wrote about content-based filtering, collaborative filtering. So the answer will be collaborative filtering. You are trying to recommend the ideal products to the ideal customers. So collaborative filtering, not clustering. Clustering is where you're trying to create clusters of customers, not personalization. Okay, this is the podium. A big round of applause for people who did well. Obviously, everybody participated. That's the real good thing about the class. Really appreciate all of you for turning up in big numbers and attending the session. All of you got some help out of it, I'm sure, in terms of understanding a little bit about data science and how we use data science in the retail domain, in the e-commerce domain. And hope all of you had a good session. All of you enjoyed the session. Next phase of the conversation, we'll be looking at AlmaBetter. Talking a little bit about what we do and the program that we had. We had a bit of a delayed start, 10 minutes, so we'll go on for another 10 minutes here. So all of you do stay with us for some time, and the next phase of the session will be equally interesting, and we'll introduce you to a little bit more about our program and how at AlmaBetter we do things differently, again, compared to the rest of the folks. So from here onwards, I hand it over to the team. I hand it over to Mayank. Mayank, over to you, sir. And once again, my pleasure for being a part of the session, and thank you to the team for inviting me. Thank you. I enjoyed the session, and very interactive audience.
Thank you, Sayan. Again, a very informative session, a knowledgeable one, I will say. And again, after every master class that you take, I just do realize how these AI things, this machine learning things, are impacting our daily life. So from here on, I will take forward this particular session. And I just hope that learners must have got a lot of things to learn from this particular session. So now the important part is, just like Sayan, he himself is an instructor and he has worked in various organizations. It's pretty much important that you should have a mentor, right, who can guide you towards all these job roles that are currently available in the market. Sometimes it's not only about studying theoretical understandings, but it's also about how you are using those theoretical knowledge. Before we just proceed ahead and tell you how AlmaBetter helps you in creating those job opportunities and how they actually mold you from a learner to an earner, there is a link that is being shared in the comment box, in the chat box. Sorry, you just can fill that feedback form, please, all of you, so that it helps us improve, with every passing week, to improve our master classes. And it's being pinged again from our team. Just fill those feedback forms so that we can keep on coming up with more and more interesting master classes, which can give you an idea about how real time all these applications work. So we'll just hardly take another 8 to 10 minutes to tell you about how AlmaBetter is actually helping you uh, giving that transition from maybe from a different background, or even if you're a fresher to data domain. All right, so what AlmaBetter actually does is that, first and foremost thing, that we here at AlmaBetter believe in the concepts of together learning, right? We always believe that a problem statement can have multiple solutions, and it's pretty much important that you should understand about all these different solutions, because the more solutions you know, the better the understanding of the particular concepts becomes for you, right? That is why we believe that we should study in groups, we should do projects in teams, and then we get ready ourselves for the jobs. Because here at AlmaBetter, you will find out that a lot of learners are freshers. A lot of learners do have a working background. It may be IT, it may be non-IT, depends. But again, when you interact with all these people, you not only form a great community, a peer-to-peer network, but you also understand how a problem statement can be analyzed by different minds, and you can learn from that, right? And that is the basic, you can say, the basic idea of AlmaBetter is this, that you should grow not only in terms of theoretical understanding, but again in terms of practical understanding. That can only be possible if you learn a lot of things from the people who are in that particular batch, or who are in that particular community. The question arises that, why I should choose AlmaBetter. What is the need, what is the requirement? There are like a lot of stuffs that is available on internet, right? So why we should go for AlmaBetter? First and foremost thing, it's important that whatever you're studying is industry relevant. You should always try and understand that this IT industry is an industry where you need to keep yourself updated. A lot of things that a learner might have learned maybe a couple of years back, or maybe a year back, might not be relevant today. But again, it's important that you should only study and give your energy on those topics which can help you in this particular sector. That is why we ensure that we are covering every topic from basic to advanced, and they're pretty much relevant in structure. You will have your live classes. If you miss those live classes, you will have the recorded lectures as well, which you can use to revise the concepts. Then we will have capstone projects. Obviously, if you're learning something, you need to practice it, and for that we will have coding problems, assessments, assignments, a lot of quizzes. Just like post this masterclass, we have a set of 5 questions quiz. So you got to know that what you understood in this entire topic, you can take something back with you post this particular session. This is what we do. Post every live classes, we will have quizzes, we will give you a lot of problems and assignments to do, and then you will have like 20 plus capstone projects that you can do, so that you understand how the theoretical topics can be used in real life as well. You will have your doubt sessions, you will have your mentorship sessions with the industry experts only. You might end up booking a mentorship session with Sayan as well. He's also one of the instructors here at AlmaBetter. After doing all these stuffs, we start molding you for the interview preparation. We have like 50 plus mock interviews, right? And you will have people from industry only who will be preparing you for this. You will get all those assistance for the CV building as well as for resume building, which is required to get yourself that transition for which you have enrolled with us. This is a 100% job guarantee program. We have like 500 plus hiring partners. So post the completion of the course, we ensure that you're getting yourself a guaranteed job in your hand, right? Because that is why you have put all your hard work, your time into this. So we do give you 100% job guarantee. And why we say 100% job guarantee? Because obviously the hiring partners that we have and the curriculum that we provide, the way we build each and every learner of ours. A lot of things that you will gonna learn in this particular 6 months of training program. There will be live lectures, recorded lectures already being discussed, projects, assignments. You will have group discussions. You will have community participation where you will find people in your very own batch. Then you will have a lot of people who are already working in different sectors, or maybe working in the IT domain. So you can also have a connection with them as well. You will have a lot of guest lectures, just like we always do on our weekends. We have like master classes. So you can have a lot of guest lectures as well. Mentorship session, pretty important. It's not only about that you're learning something or you're just doing a lot of assignments or quizzes. It's also about how well you are getting guidance towards what you're looking forward to. You will have a lot of capstone projects, a lot of competency challenges that you can go ahead with and can practice. We have like 500 plus hiring partners with us, ranging from the companies which are product based. Some of them are service based. Many of them are startups as well. And they're from different domain. Like we discussed about Amazon and Flipkart. They're the e-commerce companies. They're also our hiring partners. Then we have Cred, Citibank, Pasabajar. They are finance based companies. So even if you're from a finance background and you're looking for a transition, data has that opportunity. You can get that transition, even if it is for the e-commerce thing, or even if it is for IT services. So data has its own sector in has its own domain in each and every sector, right? So a lot of opportunities waiting for all of you coming ahead. It's only important that you should have the required skill set and a proper guidance. If you're getting that, obviously all these companies are waiting for you. And these are all top tech companies, I would say, because I believe you must have heard about all of these companies, starting from Amazon to JP Morgan Chase to HSBC to Cred, big company names. Very important that we're discussing this. This is a salary distribution for all the freshers that we have here at AlmaBetter. So like 19% of the students, they do get a salary package that is ranging between 5 to 7, which is very good. For a fresher, it's a very good start, where most of the companies, if any one of you might be a BTech pass out, you must understand one thing, that most of the time companies give you an offer of 2.5 lakhs per annum as a CTC. But here you start at 5. That is almost double the amount that you get in your colleges. 29% of the learners, they do get a salary package of 7 to 8 lakhs per annum. Again, 7 to 8 is a very good amount. That means in hand, you will be getting something around 48-50,000 rupees, which is a very good amount for a fresher. What is even more interesting is that there are 37% of the population that gets a package of 8 to 9 lakhs per annum. Getting 8 plus lakhs per annum as a fresher is a huge thing, right? Then again, there is one more thing. If you see, there are like 15% of the students who are getting a package of more than 9 lakhs per annum, out of which 3% do get 10 lakhs per annum or more than that. And that is a very crazy figure, I would say. If you work hard and you get yourself into this 3% wala zone, you somehow end up earning 10 lakhs per annum or greater than that in your initial stage. Earning 1 lakh rupee per month as an income for a fresher is a huge deal. Not even for an ordinary college, but even for the top tech, colleges, you can count the NITs and IITs also. Students do struggle to find out this kind of a package. But if you work hard, because the opportunity is there, you might end up getting this as well. It's all about your dedication, your discipline towards this particular program. If you go through our instructors and mentors, you will find out that most of them are from top tech companies, whether it's Microsoft, Swiggy, Dream11, IBM. A lot of them, all of them, they have a huge ton of experience behind them. and they guide you how this industry actually works. It's, again, I'm telling you guys, it's not only about understanding or learning a particular topic, it's also about knowing how these topics, how these skills are being used in real world. And these people who already are working in this sector can tell you more about this. Few of the success stories, right? There were a lot of people who have from different background got placed into this data domain and have, started their career, whether it's JP Morgan, Pesa Bazaar, Axis Bank, Accenture. They all had a dream. They came here, they give their time to this particular program with utmost dedication and discipline, and ended up getting a job in this particular field. Again, a lot to learn from them as well, that how you can actually get your dream just by being mentored in a right way. All of them successfully working in the data field right now, whether it's Akshay Rai, Soumya Jain, Ellen Jacob, Piyush, all of them, they're working very good, whether it's an IT company, whether it's a finance based company. They have got the transition they were looking forward to. Now, let me just let you go through the student dashboard before we proceed ahead. So this is how basically the AlmaBetter dashboard looks like when you first log in here, right? This is a certification in full stack data science. And there is one more big thing that we have done for this upcoming batches, and that is involving artificial intelligence into our curriculum. Okay, AI is something that is being used and is in demand right now. We all have heard about Chat GPT. We are all seeing a lot of stuffs that are being done by artificial intelligence. And they say artificial intelligence is the next big thing that the tech world is getting ready towards to, right? And we at AlmaBetter always ensure one thing, that if there is something which is pretty much relevant and is in demand, we do get that into our curriculum, right? So we are starting our next batch from this particular Tuesday, and in that you will not only be getting the information about data science or about machine learning, but you will also understand about how artificial intelligence is working, right? Again, we promise you this, that you don't need any prior coding experience if you want to enroll into our courses. And it's a 6 months of training program that we offer to our learners, right? With an average package of 8 lakhs per annum. We do guarantee that you may end up getting 5 lakhs per annum. That is minimum, that is minimum that we offer to our learners. But you can get an average salary of 8 lakhs per annum, with the highest being 25 lakhs per annum. We have like 700 plus hiring partners with us. Best part, if you see here, is that we have educators that are from some huge tech companies, LinkedIn, big company, Google. I don't know anyone in this world currently having a smartphone and an internet is not using Google. We do have instructors from there as well. Microsoft, again, a huge name. Netflix, it has become more common now in India, having known about Netflix. So we ensure that you're getting instructors from these people. Again, the people I talked about, you can see the review of Soumya Jain, how she got herself placed in Pesa Bazaar. What was her experience here, right? Then we have Smriti Ranjan Pradhan, who also got, that transition that he was looking forward to. Now, this is pretty important. So we start with computer programming, where we teach you about Python. Then we get more into Python by telling you about data science and algorithm, data structure and algorithm, pardon. And then we also talk about a lot of tools that are being used. Then we go into relational database, where we'll talk about SQL. Then we talk about MS Excel, Power BI, Tableau. Then we go to the statistics and the mathematics part, and then we end up with machine learning. Now, there is one more thing that is important that is coming in the next particular batch. We have also included Chat GPT in the introduction to programming that we have here at AlmaBetter. So other than teaching you about the Python, we will also be telling you about how Chat GPT is working, how you can, what more you can know about Chat GPT, right? Then we also have data wrangling that we are using, but this time we're using Pandas AI for that, right? Again, artificial intelligence coming into picture. So from day one, you're getting yourself known and aware about the AI thing. Then we have SQL, systematic query language, that is being used. It's a very important query language that we have here at data science. How you can write those things using Chat GPT. Again, Chat GPT is used how you can create the presentation and every other thing, right? We are telling you about that as well. Again, the statistics and the mathematics part, we will tell you how Chat GPT is actually making your life simpler by simplifying the equations, that is being given to you in this particular segment. And then we are also learning about artificial intelligence. That is something huge, because machine learning is something that I believe is the base towards the AI. And then if you start learning about artificial intelligence, look, sky is the only limit for you, right? So you're not only understanding about the basic concepts of data science, but you're also ending this course by learning about the artificial intelligence. That is pretty huge. And then there are like 3 optional tracks that we provide to our learners. It can be distributed machine learning, product analytics, and deep learning. You can take any of these courses and can enhance your learning in that particular domain. It may be product analytics, it may be deep learning, it can be distributed machine learning. All right. So once you complete this particular program, you get yourself into AlmaX, right, where we give you a lot of business communication classes. Again, it's important how you speak in interview, how well you are using your body gesture, your postures well. Then profile and resume building will be there. Then there will be interview preparation. There will be mock interview preparation. And again, a lot of technical revision and a lot of things should be taken out there at AlmaX. Look, we saw a glimpse of company that we have in the presentation that I was sharing. But over the website, if you go through, you will figure out there are a lot many companies waiting for you, starting from Myntra, Swiggy, Zomato, Dunzo, HSBC, JP Morgan, Cred is there, Meesho is there, Ola, Pocket FM, all those huge companies are there. The best part about is that we do ensure that you're getting prepared for all these particular companies, right? This is how your certification will look like once you complete this particular program. This is how the certification looks when you complete it. It states that a particular person, the name is written here is Megha Agrawal, has completed her full stack data science, and this is the kind of assessments or the project she has done and the amount of hours of coding that she has completed or covered. And the projects were designed by the alumni who were from Stanford University, Amazon, Google. So this certificate has its own value. If you go through this to any of the interview, they will understand one thing. Okay, this particular person is not only knowledgeable, but has done relevant stuffs. Whether it's the project, the coding assessments, assignment, whatever it is, you've done a lot of good work. I told you about the instructors and the mentors that we have. They are from Walt Disney, then Deloitte is there, United Airlines, a huge company again. Then we have people from IBM, Dream11, even, Alok Anand, who is one of the co-founders here at AlmaBetter, do also gives you classes. Lalit Kumar Digala, who's working currently in the Google as the cloud engineer AI, he also comes up and have those sessions as well. Again, I already told you why you need AlmaBetter, right? So a lot of things have been there, a lot of projects that are there which you can do, like projects from Netflix, Zomato, Airbnb, and then the Yes Bank as well. So this is again a list of companies that we have. I already give you the glimpse earlier, and you will find more companies here in this particular page. So the entire AlmaBetter structure, you can say, is divided into 2 parts. One is the tuition fees, the training program, and another one is obviously the career services that we offer. So if you want to get yourself enrolled, and obviously you need to, I believe, because if you're looking forward for the transition, this is a golden opportunity for you. I'm telling you, because I've heard this statement, and I think you guys must have also heard that AI might end up replacing the jobs in upcoming future. But what I believe is that, and what the top tech people believe, that AI will not replace our jobs, but will replace all those people who are not pretty much comfortable knowing that particular topic, that is AI, machine learning, or even data science. So you can start your journey by paying us a tuition fee of 29,999. 6 months of complete training program where we'll be telling you about end-to-end process of all those stuffs that are being carried away here at AlmaBetter. Once you complete your particular program, you give an AB CAT test, and then you get yourself into AlmaX, right, where our career services starts. You get yourself placed in top tech companies, right? If you're getting a placement that is more than 5 lakhs per annum, you end up paying us 10,000 rupees for the next 24 months. And if you get a job that is in between 3 to 5, you only have to pay us 10,000 for 15 months, right? A golden opportunity. That means anyhow you're getting yourself placed in these particular companies, right? So once you enroll yourself, since I have already enrolled myself in this particular program, so this is how it looks like. This is how the dashboard of the payment portal looks like here. Just a moment. So this is how you can enroll yourself here, right? you can just go to the website. You can use a coupon code that I will be sharing it with you in a while, and you can start yourself by paying the amount here only. So that is how basically this entire AlmaBetter things looks like. So this is how basically a paid dashboard looks like, where you will have your upcoming classes coming up. I'm already enrolled in cohort Paris. It is being seen here. You will have your topics here, like the topics that I already discussed you. Then you will have, you can even go through the live classes, or also can view the recording here. Also you will have a lot of notes that are being given here, so that you can revise it. For practice, you have a lot of questions, coding problems, coding assessments, quiz assessments. You have like 1,000+ problems that you can solve here. You will have 31 projects, out of which you have to do 4 that is mandatory out here. And look, the projects are from World Bank, Google Play, Airbnb, Netflix, Zomato already been discussed. And then you will end up getting few mentorship sessions also. So mentorship session can be, you can book a mentorship session for interview guidance, for job search counseling, for resume guidance, and for academic counseling, for project guidance. You end up getting all these mentorship sessions. Then again, you can also track yourself by going here, my performance, that how you're performing, how your cohort is performing, how people who will be qualifying for the AlmaX, they are performing. So this is how you can get yourself tracked every day. And then we already have a community platform, right, where you can get in touch with all our alumni, and also you can get in touch with the instructors and the mentors that we have here. So this is how this community works. So this, from here you can start building your peer-to-peer network as well. All right. So that was that when it comes to the product part, right? So I'm still looking forward for any doubts if you have, and then I will be sharing one of the coupon codes, that you can use to get yourself enrolled in this particular program. Anyone having any questions? I can see a few chats here. Yes, Umang, you will. I believe that all of you must have filled your feedback form as well, right? Okay, I'm still looking forward for certain questions if anyone has regarding the admission, and then I will be the Vaishnavi. The fees of this particular program is 29,999. It's the tuition fees that you have to pay, and once you get yourself placed, then you will end up paying our remaining amount. That is for the basically placement services that we take here. Okay, so I already told you about the softwares that you will gonna learn. In the programming languages, you will be learning about the Python. Then we will learn about the data structure and algorithm. We'll learn about MS Excel, Power BI, Tableau. Then we have SQL. We will learn about statistics and mathematics. And again, we will be learning about machine learning, both supervised, unsupervised. Deep learning is also there. And then again, in all those topics, AI is also included along with ChatGPT. Yes, you do get a certificate for attending these masterclasses, Umang. All right, guys. So what is the possibility of getting a job of having 5 years gap after graduation? Well, can you just write your name here instead of Samsung? So there is always a possibility of getting a job. Gap year is something that doesn't matter. It's your skills that matters the most. If you are skilled and have relevant knowledge, you will end up getting a job for sure. What is AB CAT test? Sachin, once you complete the particular program, we need a criteria where we can check how much you have learned and what more needs to be learned, because we just can't directly send you to the interviews, because again, interview is an opportunity where you have to showcase a lot of things. So if you're not well prepared, we can't directly send you to the interview. So we need to understand what are the things that you have done well, and what are the things that you can, what are the things that you need to be worked upon. So that is why we take this EVCAT that we do usually post the completion of the 6 months training that we have. Okay, which certificate you're talking about, Umang? Is it the AlmaBetter certificate, or is it the this masterclass certificate? Because masterclass certificate, you will be getting it post the completion of this masterclass via your mail. If you're looking forward for the AlmaBetter class, then you have to enroll yourself. I already answered you, Umang. Can we complete this course early? Don't need to rush the process, I believe, Samsung SM. It takes time, give that time. Sometimes rushing the process might just end up going not in the right direction. If it takes 6 months, give it 6 months. There is no point doing it early or late. You will end up learning a lot about end-to-end process of this particular program. So what you guys can do is that we're starting our next batch from this upcoming Tuesday, right? The program fees is 29,999, but for the next 6 hours, I'm giving you a coupon code that will remain valid that can give you 15% of discount over the current registration fees, or you can say the tuition fees that we have right now. And that particular code, I'm pinging it here only, that is MANG15. If you're doing it in the next 6 hours, because if you see one thing, there are only 15 seats that are left for this upcoming masterclass, sorry, the upcoming batch. And this is a huge batch that we are launching, guys. It has artificial intelligence in it, along with machine learning and data science. So you have a lot of things that you can learn. So it opens a whole new opportunity for you in upcoming months. So I've given you the code where you can get 15% of the discount. And how much time we get a job? In within 3 months, Sachin. If you've worked hard, and within 3 months, you will have your job in your hand. That is something that we always do take care of. No, Vaishnavi, weekend class is not possible. We do have our classes on weekdays, but that too in the evening time, 8 p.m. to 10:30 p.m. Weekend, we do have class, but either on Saturday or Sunday, because weekend is something where you work upon your projects, assignments, and any other assessments that's been given to you. The code has been written here as well, guys. If you're interested and if you're looking forward to learn the topics of data science, the machine learning, and big thing that is AI about ChatGPT, go and enroll yourself. For the next 6 hours, this coupon code is valid only for all of you who have attended this masterclass, who stayed with us till this time. So I can see I've answered all the questions. Vaishnavi, this has been already answered by me. So thank you so much for turning up, guys. That was that for this particular masterclass. We hope that we keep on bringing more and more interesting masterclasses so that you can also know about how this data domain is working right now and how it is growing rapidly and how many opportunities are waiting for you. And with AlmaBetter, obviously, you get this guarantee that you should get yourself placed in one of the tech companies. So thank you so much for turning up, guys. And I hope that from the next time onwards, if you're coming up, you should bring your friends or the person whom you know, for whom these masterclasses can be beneficial into this particular segment, because we always try to improve our masterclasses with every passing weekend. So thank you from my end, and Team AlmaBetter, thank you so much for being so much supportive. And that's it for this particular masterclass. Have a cool weekend. Goodbye. Take care, all of you. Bye-bye.